Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Slow Flowers Show. I'm Deborah Prinzing. I'm delighted to welcome back a frequent and famous and popular guest, Françoise Weeks, direct from Portland in her studio. Hi, Françoise.
Hi, Deborah. Thank you for having me. So nice to chat with you again.
I know. Sorry, it's not in person, but we do that
Yeah,
once a year, maybe. Yes, in fact, I love that screen behind you. It looks like you're sitting in, I don't know, a lavender field or something like that. That's in your studio, right?
yeah, yeah. It's a big screen that Ron built to hide the water heater, and a friend of mine painted those lavender fields on it.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Well, we were just reminiscing that the first time you were a guest on the Slow Flowers podcast, first of all, back in the day, 2015, we did not have video, but I distinctly remember being at Detroit Flower Week, no, Flower House Detroit,
yeah.
in 2015, Lisa Wad's amazing project. And you and Sue McCleary uh, took over the kitchen and did this breathtaking installation in this rather rustic kitchen. And then we did, I don't know, we were at in an apartment somewhere, maybe where you were staying, and I recorded an interview with the two of you while you were designing. And I know you did a lot of things that week, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Thank
busy.
you. Thank you, Sue McCleary, for bringing us together. I know she considers you her mentor and muse. So it's good to see that the arc of creativity has just soared for both of you.
Mhm.
Uh, but I will tell everyone the reason we're doing this fun interview today is to introduce Françoise's botanical couture looks that she created for our upcoming American Flowers Week, which starts on, well, the official week is the week leading to July 4th. So June 28th through July 4th is the week, but we kind of commandeer the whole month of June as a lead up to promote it. Thank you for saying yes, Françoise. And
Of
I
course.
have to give credit to our sponsors, the lily bulb exporters from Europe, Flowerbulb.com is or Flowerbulb.eu. They're the ones who said, "Do you think you could get Françoise to do something to promote lilies?" And I asked, and they actually provided funding. So, Françoise, when I asked you if you'd be willing to do botanical couture around lilies, what was your first response? Do you remember?
Yeah, well, you asked me to if I could do a dress with the lilies, and
Oh, yeah,
uh,
I always want more. I always want, like, the full meal deal.
And the reason why I was a bit hesitant on that, you have to deconstruct the lilies. The petals are super, super fragile. It would have taken me tons of hours to do at home, and then I would have had to transport it to Peterkort, and I was really concerned that they would blemish some of the petals would blemish. And so I think that I mentioned to you that a stole might be a better idea, a better project, and a headpiece. Yeah, I have made several dresses, but with the petals of the lilies, they are just so delicate and bruise way too easily. It's really
Mhm.
difficult to transport them.
I think every floral designer listening, to this can probably understand and, has had similar situations where lilies, like in a bouquet where they're protected by other flowers and foliage is probably the best way to share them and present them. But I gave you a tall order, but you rose to the occasion.
I learned a lot.
Right, and just so before we show the images, I wanna just ask you, with that in mind, uh, do you have criteria for what you're selecting, what botanical elements you are selecting when you work with fresh product? Is there or you have just, like, over time, you have an intuition about what will not bruise and what will not crack or kind of
Yeah,
get too
um,
soft?
yeah, I certainly have worked with lots of very delicate materials. You just have to be really careful. It works pretty well when the projects are smaller,
Mhm.
but when the projects are larger, like a dress, it becomes a little. it becomes a little complicated, especially if you have to transport them. And,
Right.
as always, it's all trial and error. If you've never worked with a particular flower, you test it before you make something. And it was very generous of Sandra with Peterkort to actually give me a couple of benches a couple of weeks ahead of time so that I could do some testing and
Mm.
get a better idea of how to work with the deconstructed lilies. I knew that right off the bat that I would have to deconstruct them, no matter which project I would do. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much to Sandra Laubenthal and Norman Peterkort, brother and sister duo of Peterkort Roses. They're longtime Slow Flowers members. And yeah, Sandra, you're old friends. I think when I first met you, Sandra um, was there or I met her at the Portland Flower Market, Oregon Flower Growers Association, I want to say in 2010. And she
Yeah.
said, "Oh, have you met Françoise?" So, wow, we all go back.
Long
I love
time.
it. But another thing to comment on, you had to do some tests, but you also, I'm assuming you have to wait for those tighter buds to actually bloom. You had to condition them, right?
Right. So it and how quickly they open all depends on the temperature in the room here.
Yeah.
So if it's really warm, even though I have AC in here, they will open faster than in the middle of winter. I mean, I learned a really long time ago when I used to do weddings, if I had a winter wedding, that I had to buy the lilies the previous Friday instead of 5 days before the wedding because they just wouldn't open because the temperature was too low. So they're just all important details to pay attention to. And of course, because I had to use a lot of petals, all the lilies kind of had to be open at the same time. So the ones that opened a little earlier went into cooler. So yeah,
Wow.
just a lot of details that you have to pay attention to when you do bigger projects like that.
Wow, I had thought about that. And they're not like poppies that you can, people show that trick of how you can peel the casing off and coax
Oh
them
yeah,
to bloom. Lilies don't like that kind of,
you know,
manipulation.
yeah, yeah. You usually bruise them. You can get away with it if they're almost ready to open, but if they're a tied bud and you try to peel the petals, doesn't always work very well.
Right. All right. Well, let's put up the looks. You created two looks, and I will say you when you talked about smaller pieces, that is something you're known for, like your fascinators, your headpieces, your wearables. So this was in alignment with something you might design with another botanical element, right?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, good. I've got a little PowerPoint that I'm going to put on the screen just so everyone can see some of the photography by our friend Teresa Bear, who is one of Francoise's often collaborators, right?
We've done lots and lots of photo shoots together the last 10 years. Yes,
Oh
she's
my
fantastic.
gosh.
She's
Thank you,
fantastic.
Teresa.
Yeah.
Um, and all the credits, we'll share all the credits for the model and the hair and makeup artist, also someone who Francoise frequently collaborates with. But this was what it was so special to me that we did the photography in the lily greenhouse
Yeah.
at Peterkort in, I want to say early October last year.
Yeah. Hmm.
Clearly, because of the way they grow, they can have lilies year round in this environment. And they're so tall that it's just terrific the way that um, it all comes together. So you design these on a mannequin, the pieces,
Right.
and then Akari came to the photo shoot and you did sort of adjustments on the fitting, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
This is so beautiful. The light just shows actually the nuance of the petal, how the colors are on that petal too.
Hmm.
Um, we're going to talk a little bit about your process, but for now, maybe just describe what you were trying to achieve with it's like an asymmetrical stole, right?
Yeah, and so I am no seamstress by any stretch of the imagination, but make simple patterns like that. I just draw them on a piece of newspaper, cut them out, and then put the pattern on a piece of felt, and then glued all the petals and the flowers onto the felt. It works really well.
Wow, I can't even imagine. So there's about six petals or so on a lily, right? 6 or
Yeah,
7.
Actually, I've never counted them.
A lot of lily petals were put to use here.
Yeah,
This is Catherine, your other frequent
yeah.
collaborator with
Mhm.
Event
Event
Cosmetics.
Cosmetics, yeah, it's Catherine Seeley who owns Event Cosmetics. She's been in the industry for a very long time, and we've collaborated for about 23 years. She
Wow.
does an incredible job with hair and makeup.
Oh yeah, she was a trooper. I loved meeting her, and she, I think, found Akari and brought her in as
Right,
your
that's
model.
correct. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So this actually shows some detail, Françoise, in how you built up kind of almost like a textile pattern
Mhm.
on the base being the pink lily petals. But then what else have you added here?
I added some seed pods of love in a puff. I love that annual vine and grow it in the garden. So I had harvested some. I had gotten some celosia, coxcomb celosia from Peterkort, the peach colored one there.
Mm.
And then I also used the stamen and pistils of some of the lilies. It was just kind of a fun
I
little
love that.
detail to add on there.
Yeah, it almost looks like embroidery the way you've added it on. And here's some other really nice details, just showing how those love and a puff pot puffs dance across the shoulders and kind of wrap around from the back to the front and integrate with the celosia. That was a really smart solution because you built the base and then you started embellishing on the top of that,
Correct.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. That worked out pretty well.
Yeah, we can see the whole lily in Akari's hair, and it does look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 petals.
There we go. Now we know.
Someone may contact me and correct that, but, okay, and then if the stole shawl neck piece wasn't enough, you blew my mind with this amazing hat. I don't even know top hat? How it's almost like a Mad Hatter's hat. How do you
Yeah.
describe it?
Yeah, kind of. So I make pretty much all the headpieces now on wide headbands. It's the
And I think
base that I use, and then
we'll
yeah,
show that in a little bit,
yeah,
yeah. So, the kind of like a plastic headband that you would find, like,
yeah.
in a craft store or in a
Yeah,
drugstore.
or online,
Yeah.
whatever. The wider ones definitely work better. And then here I used two different actually three different types of lilies. Peterkort had those small double lilies, the white and pink ones there that worked really well for this project.
Mm.
And then I had picked some sepals with seed heads from the cobea that I grow in the garden. That's another favorite vine, and some more of the love in a puff. And then I also had used some seed pods of Kusa dogwood. They're those
Oh,
raspberry colored
they look like little pieces of
little
fruit in
details.
here,
Yeah, yeah,
and the color is amazing. So, sticking with your kind of pink and green palette, but going deeper with this
right.
almost, I don't know, it's almost I don't even know how to describe this color. It has a bit of a fuchsia in it, but also a bit of a dark purple. Here's a detail of the brim. So you really dove in with the embellishments on the brim and
Yeah,
used the double lilies, which they are smaller, at least the ones that Peter Court gave you,
right.
which
Hmm.
made them easier to work with.
Yeah, they really were perfect for this project. The big ones would have been it would have been the wrong scale for the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing. So everything kind of gets embedded in that brim, so you had a bit of a surface to attach
correct.
with glue or whatever material you use to get
Yeah,
those in there more.
yeah,
Yeah, that detail really shows it, and, in the photography, in this case, I think the Kari was either sitting on a bucket or kneeling. It just got her down at eye level with those dark lilies,
yeah,
and she and Teresa, it was very playful, the whole experience.
yeah. It was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few more here. Just, again, you worked with Catherine to kind of get that headband attached to the model's head, right?
Yeah, so I never ever have to worry when Catherine does the hair because I have done some crazy large head pieces, and she really understands how to secure them on
Mm. Mhm,
the head of the model. I
mhm.
never have to be concerned that it's gonna that something will go wrong.
So the headband allows you to attach. You're not trying to fit the hat to the actual head. It's just
No,
resting on there,
it's
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I love it, and people will see that in the little video we're gonna show next. I wanted to start with the yummy, gorgeous stuff and, then move on to the kind of peeling back the curtain to show your process. And then we decided, let's have a Kari model, the whole look
yeah.
with the stole and the head, the top hat. And you see how tall that hat is. Luckily, she was able to fit under those cross beams in the greenhouse.
Yeah. And the
Yeah.
size of that lily that she's holding, is pretty amazing. It comes all the way up to her. Uh,
Yeah. Her elbow
yeah,
almost.
yeah, yeah. They're super tall.
Yeah, I love it. I love how you incorporated that. And, just to show how where lilies are grown and how impactful they are en masse, it was a great backdrop for this photo shoot.
Hmm.
Here's another kind of front and back looks with both the stole and the hat. And the one on the left, wow, I didn't realize you used so many of those double lilies. They
Hmm.
really create almost like it's almost like a composed flower, a larger composed flower.
Yeah. Yes.
And maybe when you design these, I don't know, because there's some common ingredients in both, did you think, "Oh, I can photograph these together," or was that just sort of an on the spot decision we
It was
made?
on the spot. Yeah. It was on the spot.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it. And, this was just a fun outtake. We were goofing around. The employees out in the greenhouse, mostly guys, were a little bit intrigued by this beautiful model, pushing a broom, pushing a cart, we were yucking it up. It was fun. Here's some details I wanted to include just showing how Teresa works because w she's shy. She didn't wanna pose for the camera, but I got her from behind how she gets down
Uh,
low.
yeah.
And, yeah, this one on the left, I think they were working with one of the crew members trying to get the cart sturdy enough so that Akari could stand on it.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
fun. That was a hoot. Just another little glamour shot of lilies. The light was so beautiful inside the
Oh,
greenhouse. I couldn't
it was
resist.
perfect. Yeah. It was just perfect. Gorgeous day. And there you are.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm taking a photo of a lily, I think, and then, there's one of us together. We're conferring. I don't know who took that. Maybe it's Teresa. I'm not sure, but we had such a great day. It was a long day, and you put so much time and effort into this. This was the final shot, with, Norman Peterkort, and sad to say, this was a compost pile of roses, and, our friend Teresa was, like, "What? No, you can't throw these away." So, I think he let her gather some to take to an event she was going to. Uh
Absolutely. Yeah, she did. She did.
and this purse was an accessory that someone brought, right? And we just had it on hand for
Yeah. Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
fun little moment.
Yeah, it was.
Congratulations. Honestly, this was just such a dream come true, and I don't know, it maybe ask a talented artist to work with a difficult material and, like, beauty comes out of it. Um, Normally, you work with, I don't know, things like hellebore flowers or, moss or seed pods, but you work with a lot of fresh ingredients, don't you?
Yeah, I do a lot of woodland style design and couture, but I definitely also work with fresh flowers,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
uh, it's yeah, it's fun no matter which materials you use.
What's
It's
the fresh flower you want to design with that you haven't yet designed with? Let's make it happen.
oh boy, you know what would be gorgeous is would be passion vine, passiflora. Wouldn't that be gorgeous?
The vine and the bloom.
Yeah, it would be difficult because you know how the flowers only last one day, so it would be a little challenging there. But
Right.
I think that that would be magnificent to do
Mm.
something.
Okay, let's make that happen. There's not a huge, in the commercial flower farming industry, not a
Mm,
huge market for someone who produces passion
no,
vine. It's more of a gardener's flower.
yeah, my I have this one purple passion vine that's supposed to be an annual because we have had no winters basically the last 2 years. It has survived for through the last two winters, and I have probably well over 100 buds and flowers on it now. It's
Is
magnificent.
that is that on your driveway where you have those trellises set
Uh,
up?
no, there I have another passion vine there that has well over 100 buds also. Yeah, it's but of
Okay.
course they don't all bloom at the same time, you know, so it would be very
Yeah.
tricky to do a project with them, but it would be magnificent, I think.
Okay. All right, I'm on board. So I will support you in whatever way possible. I almost feel like you'd have to pre-design, say, like a corset
Right.
with something more durable, like, I don't
Yeah.
know, lamb's ears or something, and then pick just enough passion flowers to put on the neckline
Yeah.
and shoot it right away.
Yeah.
All
There we
right. Well,
go.
that's you can do it. All right. So I promised this video. I want to put it up because we are just going to talk through this. It's really going to show the process that and I'm going to put it on pause for a sec, that Françoise can it's just for 5 or 6 minutes. I'm hoping we can just talk through some of the process. Thank you to Andy Ziegler, Slow Flowers member in Portland. She owns 3 steeples, and I know she loves to do botanical couture. In fact, we highlighted one of her feverfew dress last year, and I said to her, "Hey, I can't go down and film Françoise doing this. Would you be willing to spend a little time with her?" And I think she stayed with you for a couple hours, didn't she?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this is
That's
edited down just because some of it is repetitive. But Françoise, you're in your studio. You talked about making a pattern. Is this what you began with?
Yeah, so to the left is the pattern that I cut out of newspaper, and then I transferred that onto the felt and start gluing all the petals and blossoms onto the
Okay,
felt
so this
with
is the
cold glue. Yeah,
okay, so I'm gonna hit play and we can just talk through
yeah,
this. I think here you were just and we're kind of blocking it with our mini screen, but you're showing some of the ingredients. There's the cold glue.
yeah.
Ah, here's the famous deconstruction.
Yeah, there was lots of lilies to deconstruct. So, and then just glue them on one
Wow.
by one, overlapping, you know, them. So, so I covered the whole stole with the petals like that, and then I placed them onto the mannequin, and then I decorated it with the other elements.
Okay, we'll
Loving,
show that. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Mhm,
just wanna pause for a minute and look at how delightful that is. The way you overlapped, even the way you overlapped the petals
mhm.
added a lot of dimension to the surface area. It wasn't they weren't flat.
Right. So if you just put glue on the very end of it, you don't glue the whole petal onto the base. And that's what gives a little bit of a 3D effect.
That is an excellent tip because I see people using this overlapping technique to cover a textile, like a garment that they've maybe thrifted or something, and it doesn't all that glue on the whole surface of the petal also, I think, would make it ultimately crumple and crack because of just how the glue dries or because you're just putting a dot on.
Yeah, and then you have to be careful also because sometimes we're back to trial and error. Sometimes the glue will stain the leaf or the
Mm,
petals that you're using. So if
sure.
you just put it onto the very end of it, that will be overlapped by other petals. You don't have to be concerned about that issue.
Ah, great. Love those techniques for various reasons, but you're kind of thinking through how is this flower going to behave? Okay, here's the sepals and stamen that you're
Yeah.
um I love it. Nothing goes to waste, Françoise.
No. Yeah, and then so you can just lift up the petal, to glue whatever you're going to add onto it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then you're adding a few more extra petals maybe in there too.
Yeah.
That's a good angle.
Hmm.
Wow, they're so shimmery the way they emerge now as part of the design. And now you're adding the love and the puff balls.
Ah, I just love them so much. They're such a wonderful seed pod.
Well, and because the time of year it was the you did this in late September, early
Yeah,
October, so everything was still very fresh. You
yeah.
you didn't
Mm.
have you didn't have to preserve or try to keep
No,
things like
no.
the celosia probably just would have been fine dry or
Yeah, but it's if I like to I don't mind using dried when I use woodland design, but when I use fresh, I like to use all fresh. It's just a little bit different texture when they're dried, and the color is not as vibrant.
yeah, that's a really good point. And I think from an artist point of view, you're trying to make everything cohesive and work well with each other. So that's a tip that
Right.
anyone I have seen people combine fresh and dried. It's not
Hmm.
like you can't do it, but I see
Right.
where
Yeah.
your preference is.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk about the hat here, and folks, if you're not viewing this and you're just listening, you might want to come over to the Slow Flowers YouTube channel so you can see this excellent video because you see all the mechanics that Francoise is using. So as you're laying out the mechanics here, I see the headband.
Yeah, the headband. And then in 2018, I believe, Holly Chappell collaborated uh, uh,
Syndicate.
with
Syndicate sales.
syndicates, yeah,
Yeah,
with syndicate sales, and they designed these pillows that were really designed to put on vases that have a wide neck and that are not very deep, so that you can make a design uh, in those pillows, and the flowers will stay put without having to create a grid
sure.
with tape or using chicken wire or something like that. But I've never used them for that purpose. I uh, I have them in all the different sizes that they are produced, and I've used them for lots of different projects. But here for the headpieces, I like to take a half of a pillow, and so like the large one I used as the base for the headpiece, and that's what created the brim on the headpiece, and
Mm,
so that got zip tied onto the headband.
okay, and we'll see that.
Yeah.
I will
Mm.
have to say, I love that you're a rule breaker and like if there's something designed for one application, you're going to take it apart and try to push it further than Holly or Syndicate probably ever imagined. But also you use these over and over again. So these are your tools in your toolkit. Okay, so let's hit play and sort of you can talk us through what it took to build the base of this hat.
Yeah.
I think you're laying out your ingredients. Or this was more time consuming than the shawl, right?
Right. Yeah. There's just a little bit more mechanics involved. So I have, I use aluminum mesh. This is a thicker grade of aluminum mesh that worked really well for this project because it stayed really perfectly vertically, and I cover it with press and seal so that I have a good surface to glue foliage or petals on. And
Oh
then
my
I
goodness.
zip tie the vertical mesh onto the larger uh, half pillow. Then I zip tie the headband on it also.
And the brim, the tall part of the hat, I'm sure there's a term for it. I'm gonna pause for a second. The tall part of the hat, it has a really fanciful shape. And you were telling me that there was something that you had as inspiration for that before you
Yeah,
created that shape.
yeah, I follow a lot of milliners on Instagram uh, to get ideas for shapes of hats uh, because I don't come up with these ideas. I never wear
Well,
hats except knitted hats, you know.
yeah, you're looking for inspiration across the ages.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had seen something similar to this and I really liked the idea, and then I had to figure out how which mechanics I was going to use to execute it, and
Mm.
this worked out pretty well. That
And
uh, that aluminum mesh that has the larger holes and is a little thicker really is a good choice because it's not wobbly. It just really does what I wanted it to do.
it holds its shape while
Yeah,
you're putting heavy botanicals on it,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
then the press and seal, I will just since we skipped a step here, the press and seal gives you a more of an even surface to attach the botanicals to, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it would it wouldn't work very well to glue petals or foliage onto the mesh, nor onto the on the
The
pillow. The
yeah.
holes are just too big. It doesn't work very well. So the press and seal is a much better choice than the cling wrap, because the cling wrap you have to use glue, to secure it, and then it's a difficult element to use. But the press and seal, you just cut a piece off, and one side it has a little bit of glue on it already, and then you just iron it out on the bases that you want to cover. It works fabulously.
Oh, that's
It
great.
works really well.
So right now you've got the brim, the upright part of the
Yeah,
hat, all kind of ready to have botanicals attached to it.
correct. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna hit play again. And you're starting to apply are those
The
salal
salal,
leaves?
yeah, the salal leaves. So I never ever want to see the plastic, from the mechanics. So when I start, I always fold the leaves over the edge of the pillow, the half pillow there, or so that you'll never ever see the mechanic, and
Mm,
then cover the
mhm,
base of it. And I found out with the salal leaves, if you put the cold glue on the quote wrong side, and the shiny side would show, it usually will create a brown spot on the leaf.
mm,
But if
mm,
you put the glue on the shiny side, like I did here, the cell structure must be different on that side,
hmm.
and it never stains the other side of the leaf.
Right, and that matte side or the underneath
Yeah,
side is a little bit more, it just gives you a base. You're not trying to it's
yeah.
not part of the design as much,
No,
is it?
no, no. So yeah, yeah, I always like to cover the base with them, so that the mechanics will never ever show. So I
Mm.
didn't have to do it under the lily petals, because the lily petals took care of that. But otherwise, I typically always cover the mechanics with salal leaves or whatever other foliage. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I just don't even know how many lilies, were put into surface for this design. In fact, didn't you end up using this more raspberry colored lily because you
Yeah.
didn't have enough of the other color?
Correct. Yeah, correct. I had miscalculated it a little bit, and they were not available anymore. So I just
Yeah.
went with Plan B.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kinda nice in a way because it just, gave a different look, a little bit
Yeah.
more dramatic.
Hmm.
The stole is so feminine, and this is a little bit more, I don't know, exotic. Okay, here you are attaching those. I've been curious about that. Do you just attach the whole flower by,
Yeah.
like,
Hmm.
s putting a little bit of glue
Yeah.
around the base?
Yeah.
That's it that worked pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, that cold glue works really, really well. Um, it's yeah,
Hmm. And then the you just hold the flower for, I don't know, several seconds to get it
yeah,
to kind of stay in place.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, considering how heavy those flowers are, that actually really surprises me how you've got that to wedge in there.
yeah. It worked pretty well. And then the rest of the brim I just covered with the lily petals, and then decorated it with um, the love in a puff seed pods and the cobea seed pods and the kusa dogwood seed pods.
Yeah, you see them on the left, or on the left of the screen. On your right, you've got everything collected in little buckets or
Yeah,
little. Oh, let's stop here because I want to talk about this. You
yeah,
had everything collected so that before you start any assembly, all your ingredients are at hand because you can't necessarily uh, pause when you're working with something perishable, right?
right. Yeah, so hydration chambers. So I learned this from Gregor Lersch in 2018, and it was a game changer when it comes to making um, designs for that do not have a water source several days or 1 or 2 days ahead of time of the photo shoot. So I one of the things that I had tested with the lily petals is how well they held up for 24 or 48 hours, and they definitely needed a hydration chamber. So I just have a whole bunch of storage boxes of all sizes, and I just place the design in it and cover it with moist paper towels. You want to be very mindful to not use wet paper towels. They have to be moist.
So you wet them and then
Yeah,
squeeze them
you
out.
squeeze them out.
Hmm.
And then you seal it and you keep it at room temperature. My cooler is just not big enough to put those big boxes in. So I just keep it at room temperature. And they will hold for some flowers or will hold for up to 5 days. I do remember that the lilies didn't keep that long. It
That
was
method
just a couple
you
of
would
days.
use for, yeah, you would use for, like, if it was for a wedding, I am guessing, like, boutonnieres or
Mhm.
wrist corsages, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah. So you literally could make those on Tuesday for a Saturday wedding and keep them in hydration boxes. But these lily petals were, delicate, and I think they looked fine in a hydration box for 2 days, and then that was it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, and you didn't do it for the hat because, or did you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I put it in one of the larger storage boxes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how, and it's a nice way to transport all that delicate those delicate designs also.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Once you had the, paper towels on there that were, like, you got them, I started to ask, you got them wet and then you, wrung them out so they
yeah.
weren't, super soggy. Did you have to go back in and spray or mist those,
No,
the next day? Okay, just
no,
leave it.
because the box is sealed, it really keeps the moisture in. But when I've done big projects where I start 3 or 4 days ahead of time, I do check every single day, and I have to say I have never had to replace anything.
It's
I
wonderful.
check it because I'm concerned that something might go wrong. And I mean, it's amazing. You can use sweet peas, uh, lily of the valley, clematis, pansies, all these flowers that you would never ever think to use for these projects if you didn't have a hydration chamber.
Mm, I love it, I
It's
love it.
amazing.
Well, thank you, Gregor Lurch. We both have loved working with him, and when he's been stateside or up in Canada. So, in
Yeah,
fact, that's the last time I saw him. We were all together right before COVID.
yeah,
Um, okay, so first of all, you're such a professional. Just hearing you talk about doing these tests and even for samples or for the hydration chamber, it's a game changer for the way you have successful projects. And I want people listening to say, this is what it takes to plan ahead and make sure it's successful. And when the photo session happens, the photographer, the model, the hair and makeup, everyone shows up. You got to be ready with a look that doesn't need to be troubleshooted, I guess.
right. Yeah.
There's always failures, there's always disasters, but Françoise ensures there are very few.
You always bring plenty of extra material to fix things if need be, etc., etc. Yeah.
Before
Um,
we wrap up, I have a couple things I want to ask you. One is uh, just your philosophy of why botanical couture. Like why is doing, because it's not you created these for American Flowers Week, but you create wearable botanical pieces year round. I mean, this is something you and Teresa love to do together, and uh, you use them in classes. You also use them in editorial.
yeah.
Why has it captured your imagination so much?
It's actually pretty funny because I've never been interested in fashion. So it's not like I'm into fashion and I've never bought fashion magazines or anything like that. But somehow, I don't know, something sparked my interest. It actually started with purses when I saw. This was almost 20 years ago, a photo of a table setting in this gorgeous Parisian apartment, and for each hostess gift, there was a little botanical purse by each plate, and that really sparked my interest and curiosity. So I figured out how to do the purses, and then the next were shoes, how to decorate shoes. And then a photographer friend in 2011 here asked me to collaborate and do headpieces I'd never done. Don't made them. I had no clue of how to make them, and but I think that curiosity and perseverance are just my best friends. And then start doing it and enjoying the process, liking to have to figure out different mechanics chronically. It's invigorating and it's fun. And then from there went on to wearables and jewelry, et cetera, et cetera. And it's super, super fun to make them and then to see a model wear them, for a photo shoot or for a fashion show or whatever. It's really fun.
Well, and then to see how people respond. Like you recently just did a botanical couture fashion show in Portland. You were saying this
Yeah,
annual event. When people respond, it must be even more gratifying. Like, oh, they get this. They see why this is so. I'm filled with wonder to see this headpiece made out of flowers, and it's got to be so
yeah.
affirming for you.
It's very fun, yeah, and and it opens so many different ways for being creative. So it's very different for me than to do a beautiful centerpiece for a table or something like
Hmm.
that. The mechanics and the creativity are definitely pushed a little farther that way, and it's yeah, I really yeah.
Well, back to that point about a table centerpiece. I mean, people expect to see flowers in a vase.
Yeah,
They don't expect to see a model wearing flowers in as a garment or a headpiece, or
right.
carrying a purse or wearing shoes. You're right. There's almost like an element of surprise that you kind of you're a little bit sneaky about it. You want to blow people's minds. I was going to say now we want to see passion flower wearables coming up soon from Françoise Weeks. Um, before we wrap up, I said I had two things I wanted to talk to you about. The second one is your new website, and you've done a refresh on your website, and I
Mhm.
want to just share it really quickly. Okay, so I mentioned you have just refreshed your website. It's so beautiful, and want to walk people through it so they can be encouraged to go over and visit European Botanical Design. What are some of the features that you want me to highlight here, Françoise?
It features the classes that I teach. So I do classes in the studio, I do private classes, I do team building classes, and I do classes for private parties, which are super fun. Um,
Mm.
and
So you've
then,
got that's under workshops and then online courses, right?
yeah. Yeah. And then the online courses, that's something that we started about 9 years ago already, 8 or 9 years ago. Those we did a whole bunch of videos that
Right.
were they kind of saved my business during COVID, to be real
I
honest with
remember, yeah, I think we did a podcast interview about this right when you launched one of the series
you.
because, yeah, you were homebound basically. You
Yeah.
couldn't travel due to COVID.
By the way, for this purse, I used the the pillows from Holly Chapel and
Mm,
adjusted
mm,
them. So they
mm.
created the base for this purse.
Oh, this purse is so beautiful. It looks like you've got the hosta leaves, but then the flap is like a begonia, Rex
Yeah, the
begonia.
begonia leaves, yeah. And
And
some
what is the little
amaranthus, I think, on the edge there.
oh my gosh, so great.
These are the online courses. Yeah. Yeah.
And so now they're priced a la carte so that you can just take one of them by
Right.
topic. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah. And
love
then
it.
above there, it shows the selection, the forged designs, structural woodlands, etc.
Okay, and then the Wonder of Woodlands really is almost like a handbook for what some of the workshops are because you could buy the book and then still take some of the design workshops and they kind of are a nice companion piece.
Yeah. Yeah. The book was to show how you can just harvest, whether it's from your garden or on private property or whatever, and use those elements to make some really fun and different designs.
Mm, mm.
Uh, so yeah, it was a long but very good project, and Teresa was the fabulous photographer for that project.
Oh, great.
So
I'll in our show notes, I'll make sure I put the link for people to order it. This is the new element that you were talking
for
about. People who want to just buy a piece from you.
correct, yes.
Wow.
It's for small events or small weddings or just little parties, an anniversary or whatever. So it's a minimum of $200, and people can just order whatever they would like, and there's the selection there of what the offerings are.
So rings, necklaces, bouquets, boutonnieres, bow ties, hair
Yeah.
flowers, crowns, centerpieces, log arrangements. So this is it really targeted to people who are willing to come pick these up? You're not necessarily able to ship them, are you?
Yeah, I'm not very keen on shipping.
Yeah.
I've done it a few times and I find it so incredibly stressful
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
packages typically are not handled very carefully. I would consider it, but it's definitely more geared towards people who are in town.
Or someone who's coming into Portland
Right,
area for a wedding and can pre-order these pieces and pick them up.
right.
I think it's smart. You had said that Teresa
Yeah,
is the inspiration for nudging you along to add this page to your website.
yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
would we
So
what would we do without our friends? Thank you,
oh my
Teresa.
gosh, it's always teamwork, right? Yeah, my friend Cheryl Tynes, she and Teresa were the two who suggested that I would add that onto my website.
Yeah,
So
and it'll create I think it'll create its own market, once people start seeing, a beautiful headpiece or jewelry on, social media and you're going to get referrals from all those party guests who are wearing Françoise bow ties to, I don't know, a wedding or a dinner party. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for all that you've done to support Slow Flowers and especially for participating as our featured designer in American Flowers Week. We have really fun social media badges that showcase Françoise's designs, and you can download them from American Flowers Week website under free downloads, and I'll make sure I put that link in our show notes. So I want people to download these and post them and tag Françoise and talk about the fact that we're celebrating this sort of in this holiday that we created here at Slow Flowers, inspired by the folks who started British Flowers Week in 2013. 2 years later, I met them in 2015 at Chelsea Flower Show. It was May, and they're like, "Deborah, you should start American Flowers Week." And I thought, yeah, I'll wait till next year. And then I came home. I had 5 weeks to do it, and the people at New Covent Flower Market who had started British Flowers Week gave me all their resources and were coaching me along. And I'm like, okay, let's just dive in and do it. So it has built slowly since then, and I think this is year 12. So the
That's
Botanical
amazing.
Tour. Yeah.
Congratulations.
I don't know if I guess I didn't tell you that story, but
No, I
yeah,
didn't know that. Yeah.
that
Well,
was
thank you
that was
so
really
much.
fun.
Yeah, and thank you so much for inviting me to be part of
Ah,
this. I really appreciate it.
well, we wanted to showcase the lily, and you have elevated the lily into a fashion icon. So thank you so much. We'll be posting, and people will be seeing these everywhere. And check out Françoise if you're in the Portland area just for a vacation. Call her up. She'll tailor a one-on-one with you, and or a 1 day or 1 hour kind of workshop in her studio. And oh my gosh, people who've done that feel like they're getting that extra special, fairy dust magic that you can't get online. You've got to get in person. So it's
Thank
fun.
you.
Okay, we'll talk soon. Thanks a lot, Françoise.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.